So I know when we talk about training camp, like who's looking good, ooh, like I understand that is fully early, as well as some fans be like, "Well, how can you tell it's so early?" Well, it is literally 100% of the data set that we have to go on. It is all. It is all that we have to go on. So today we're going to look at the top 5 Vikings who are showing up and showing out at training camp. Now, this is going to skew younger because, of course, we can come on here and be like, hey, you know who looks really good? Adam Thielen, Harrison Smith, Danielle Hunter, even though he's hurt. Still looks good. Yeah, but nah. It's going to skew younger, as well as so early in training camp, especially when it's primarily walkthroughs, as well as even though it is full pads and full contact for training camp, like it's hard to decipher some positions. So positions that will look good are pass rushers, receivers, cornerbacks, all of those things. So that's why this list is going to be heavily skewed in that direction. So let's get it on. Number 1, you know who it is. So Cameron, Tiny, Dantzler, and I'm hyped. I'm good to go. Like yesterday morning, we talked about how it's Cameron Dantzler's world. Looked good in the broadcast practice. Had a nice little pass break up on Adam Jerome, Ezekiel Thielen. Thielen's already talking up his praise. Zimmer loves him as well. And it's just a return to what Mike Zimmer potentially used to do. Right, where he had this long, fast, smart, cocky press corner, like they had in Xavier Rhodes in 2017, then you can get creative and do whatever the hell you want to do with the rest of the other 10 guys on defense. And Cameron Dantzler has already cemented himself early on. He was very impressive in the offseason work, as much as you can be, just working in classroom, talking through concepts, asking good questions. So he was looking good to start, and I think that, man, he's going to come in and be a week 1 starter. I think he'll square off against Devontae Adams, who is not as good as Adam Thielen, Stephon Diggs, and Justin Jefferson. Week 1, historic U.S. Bank Stadium, September 13th against the greasy, grimy Green Bay Packers. And I'm not sure if he's going to give up that starting job. So Jeff Gladney, as they work him back slowly while he's recovering from the meniscus, I mean, it's going to be tough to pry 27 off the field. It's going to be great. The Needle is stitching up a nice little season for himself this year. Next up, numero 2, so Justin Jefferson, first-round pick, wide receiver, looking damn good. And also, how long is he not going to be running with the ones? Probably it won't be too long, but he's in there tearing up the twos, putting on a show. The Justin Jefferson, Sean Mannion chemistry, it's there, as well as Kubiak's talking about that. Even though he was primarily a slot at LSU, he completely dominated that role. 1,100 catches would be a record. 111 catches, 1,500 plus yards receiving, 18 touchdowns. That they are starting to work him in at other wide receiver positions. Now, that's not typically what you do with a rookie wide receiver. Generally, as you're working receivers in, especially receivers that came from more collegiate style offenses, much more simplified. Typically, you're looking at the air raid type offenses where receiver route running, pretty simplistic, right? So coming into the NFL scheme, you're generally going to teach the receiver one position. Like he will learn the X, he will learn the Z, he will learn the slot, and then you just branch out from there. But if Kubiak's comfortable throwing a little bit of everything at Justin Jefferson, I think that's all positive signs. From what we've heard is like he's looking good. Maybe a young Chris Carter is a little bit too hyperbolic. Hopefully it's more young Vikings Chris Carter as opposed to young Philly Chris Carter, which... yeah, but also, like we said yesterday, Olabisi Johnson is not going into that good night without a fight. So BC Johnson is the wide receiver 2 right now. He's lining up with Adam Thielen in 2 wide receiver sets. And he looked good last year, looks damn good this year as a refined route runner. I think he's an extremely polished possession receiver coming into year 2. So it's going to be a great collaboration between Thielen, between BC, between Jefferson, between Chad Beebe potentially as well. Looking good. Next up, star number 3 of the Minnesota Vikings training camp thus far, Hercules Mata'afa, right? So it is very congested and clogged at that 3-tech competition. And we talked in the offseason, well, maybe it's going to be James Lynch. Maybe it's going to be Jalen Holmes. Maybe it's going to be Shamar Stephen. Maybe it's going to be Lil Johnson. So the Vikings do seem pretty confident in Shamar Stephen as a nose tackle. Armon Watts is going to vacillate between 3-tech and nose tackle. But also Armon Watts, even though he's a solid penetrator, I think the Vikings would be better served having a more pass rush oriented 3-tech passing situations. And I think that could be Hercules Mata'afa because when he came out of Washington State, this amazing consensus All-American Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Year, defensive tackle. He weighed 254 pounds, and that's him getting ready for the combine, man. All right, so the Vikings so he missed his rookie year with a torn ACL at rookie camp, but he's added weight. He was reportedly up to 289 a couple months ago. And he does look a little bit slimmer than that 289, but at a certain point, it's just like, whatever. You can get them to a certain size, but can he just play? And I don't believe that Hercules Mata'afa will be a down in, down out, good against the run type 3-tech, but what he can be, a very valuable role, is he will come in on third down, kick inside, a lot like you saw from Afadio Denebo last year, and he's just going to line up outside shoulder of the guard, blow up that B gap, and then just wreak havoc on passing situations for the other team. And I think that he could certainly fill that role, and he's looking good. He's primarily working against the twos. Maybe he'll start getting some reps with the ones, but he's having some really legendary battles so far with rookie second-round pick Ezra Cleveland, who's working at second-team left guard on the offense. So I'm pretty hyped about Herc. I think that he potentially has some staying power, as well as Jalen Holmes, the third-round, former fourth-round pick out of Ohio State, third-year former fourth-round. That makes sense. They're kicking him primarily over to left defensive end, so I think that they're going to groom him to be a backup for Daniil. So it's wide open for Herc. Yeah. Next up, numero 4 star at Vikings training camp so far, KJ Osbron. It's all the U being the U, baby. Now he's looked good in some return drills. What we saw from that section, I think that he's got the punt return job pretty well locked up. Now the most important thing about returning punts, it's not so much, hey, can you break it and take one to the house? Obviously, that is important, but it's more, can you track the ball? Can you secure it? Can you not let the ball bounce? Because all that hidden yardage adds up, as well as, Zimmer knows this, and if you want to play a conservative ball control style of play, like that trait in a punt return is extremely important. That's why Zimmer loved Sherrills for so many years, even though Sherrills was underrated as an explosive returner. But I think KJ Osbron could fill that role, as well as he's been looking damn good with the twos. Like everyone that I've been hearing has been raving about KJ Osbron through walkthroughs. He's looking good. He's a much more polished route runner than I think that people gave him credit for coming out of the U. But also him working in cutting routes, him working a lot of crossers. I think that he could firmly establish himself as potentially that wide receiver 5, maybe even eventually wide receiver 4, pending what happens with Chad Beebe. So it's going to be great. Lastly, next up, star number 5 of the Vikings training camp so far, Nevelle Clarke. So similar size and length as Cameron Tiny Dantzler. Surprisingly, was a UDFA out of Central Florida, national champions, former teammate of Mike Hughes. As of right now, I think that he has a good shot to make the 53. I think the Vikings do carry 6 cornerbacks. I think Clark could be in that mix, but he does have length. He does have great ability, as well as he's been a press man cornerback by nature, and he's been looking good. He's been making some really good, confident pass breakups, working majoritively. That's not the word. Mainly with the third team. Nailed it. Talking lessons. We're getting that to go, as well as the financial. It makes sense why the Vikings made such a big financial investment in him as a UDFA, because they gave him $115,000 guaranteed, which is big for a UDFA. $15K signing bonus. $100K guaranteed, because I think as of right now, I think he's firmly putting his hat in the derby, that cornerback competition, as well as with Harrison Hand, with Cameron Dantzler obviously shining, and then also once Jeff Gladney gets the training wheels taken off, he'll be in the mix as well. So the Vikings, especially the wide receivers and the cornerbacks, even though they're young, there's a lot of talent, and they're just going to get after it. That's what I love to see. But that's it. As of right now, that's the top 5 stars for Vikings training camp. A lot more to go on. Long ways to go. I'm sure there'll be other lists. But your thoughts on our thoughts, let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support that work, pull some of the Venmo. But until next time, Skol, production value.